Hey everyone, so today's tutorial is pretty obvious. It's Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm starting off with clean fresh skin, but I'm still going to go in with some witch hazel, which is a natural astringent, and on a cotton pad I'm going to wipe this around my eyebrows to remove any natural oils that are sitting on the skin still. Then I'm going in with a spoolie and I'm going to brush my eyebrow hairs upwards. This is in preparation for the wax I'm going to be using. So I'm going to simultaneously brush the hairs up as I also run the wax through the hairs in the direction that I'm brushing them. And this is the best way to completely flatten your brows against your skin if you want to hide your brows. Now if you wanted to just completely conceal your brows, you could now apply a sealant and then go over with your foundation and your brows would be non-existent. But for this particular look, we're going to build on the wax to build up the brow bone so that we can slice through the wax to create the scars that Gamora has on her brow bone. So you just want to keep building on top of your eyebrows. You don't necessarily have to hide the hair because the paint will hide the hair anyway. We just want to make a big enough mound that we can slice through. Once you've applied enough wax, we're then going to go in with a small amount of Vaseline and use our finger to work that in circular motions over the wax to help smooth the surface and give it a more uniformed finish. Taking the edge of my spatula, I'm going to carve out half an oval shape on the lower half of my brow. Then we're going to mimic that shape just above the one we've carved out, only this time we're going to make it a bit higher and it's also going to go a lot wider. A little tip would be to gently carve the shape out first, then once you're happy you can go in and make the grooves deeper. Now I've got the shape on both eyebrows, I'm going to go in with this Sealant by Kryolan, and on an old disposable brush I'm going to work this over the wax very quickly. This stuff sets and becomes tacky, so you don't want any rough edges by trying to keep going over it. So just swipe it on and leave it to set. Next I'm taking Pro Shield Barrier Foam by Kryolan. So this is a multi-purpose foam that protects the skin from harsh influences. So you can apply this before applying any FX products to your skin. So my main purpose for using it today is to prevent the green from leaving a hue on my skin once I've washed it off. You could probably apply this before you've applied your wax, but I always prefer to apply the wax to completely fresh, clean skin. Using my spatula, I'm making 2 indentations on the outer third of the top eyebrow groove. To create the other scars on Gamora's face, I'm using Collodion by Kryolan, and the tool I'm using is from the Sigma FX range, and this has got a silicone tip. The reason I've chosen to use a silicone tip is because when the Collodion dries it goes like a plastic and it just peels off the silicone tip as opposed to ruining my brush hairs. So I'm just copying the shape of the scars on the forehead from a reference image of Gamora that I got off of Google. You can of course just paint the scars on, but using the Collodion is going to give you that more realistic effect. As the Collodion dries, it shrinks, which pulls the skin inwards, and the more you apply, the deeper the scar will look. So once you're finished, you'll end up with something that looks like this. And that's taken about 8 layers to get to this level. Now I'm taking Supracolor by Kryolan in a few different shades of green. I'm mixing these shades to come up with a green that matches my reference image that I'm working from. Gamora often looks like a paler green when she's out in the daylight and more of an intense green when she's inside. So I've opted for the slightly more intense green because it's the same as the reference image I'm working from. And if you want to see the photo that I'm using as my guide, I will add that into my blog post. Supracolor is a cream based makeup and it's got really good coverage. So you can layer this product to give you full opacity. If I was going to Comic-Con or somewhere that I wanted this to last the entire day, I may layer some paint down first and then use this to go over the top. But this alone does have great staying power, especially if you set it in place. But having the paint underneath will just give you that security that if you're going to be touching your face or if you're going to be getting warm, that your makeup will stay in place all day. Next I'm taking 521, which is like a pale creamy mustard shade. So I'm going to use this to bring some structure to the face and make it look a bit more 3D and less flat. So I'm only applying it really to the centre of the face. I'm keeping it on the brow bone, down the centre of the nose, also highlighting the edges of the nostrils, and then applying some through the V shape underneath the eyes to bring some light to that area, and then instantly you can start to see the face is looking less flat and giving it more shape. The great thing about working with creams is that they blend into each other so well, so it makes doing this kind of makeup really easy. I can see a lot of yellow tones in the reference images, so I'm going in with 509, which is a nice primary yellow, and I'm working that in over the light mustard shade that we've already applied. You need a very small amount, and then you can go back in with your big flat brush that you applied all your green with and just press that colour in, and it's just going to soften everything. Taking that primary yellow shade alone, I'm working that over the centre of the chin and the philtrum, and then I'm using that flat brush to press that in. Now I'm taking this black and the darkest green and I'm mixing them together to create a contour colour. So we've already highlighted, now we want to add some shade into the face. Again, this is going to help to sculpt it and make it look more Gamora-esque. Zoe Saldana actually wore pieces on the face, so we have to sculpt ours to make it look more prominent in those areas. So now I've applied it into the hollows of the cheeks, I'm also going to apply it down the sides of the nose, again just to make it look a little bit more like Gamora's nose. And also take this up into that brow bone. Going back into some of that yellow, I'm applying it directly underneath our scar because this area is slightly more highlighted in the reference image. And use feather light strokes with your bristles to help blend that in. Now we've done our base, highlight and contour, we're going to go in with the RCMA No Colour Powder and our Tilt Makeup Puff. And we're going to press that into the skin. It's really important that you only pat and roll, otherwise you will disturb the makeup underneath. If you do happen to get any patching, go in at the very end with your brush and just reapply a little bit more colour and then reset it. I'm going in with that darkest green shade and I'm applying that to the lips. You could of course use a lipstick, but this works just as well and it's the perfect colour. Next I'm going in with a black kohl pencil and I'm running that along the eye. I'm going to use my Tilt Makeup Puff to pull the eyelid down so I don't disturb the makeup, and then I'm going to run that along the waterline. I'm also going to tightline with the same pencil. Then I'm going to go in with a small detailer brush and smudge that kohl pencil between those lower lashes. For the eyeshadow, I'm using this Duochrome palette by Neve Cosmetics. I'm using this shade called Abracadabra. The eyeshadow colour they used on Zoe Saldana was Humid by MAC, which is an intense dark green in a frost finish, which is a shimmer. And this is a Duochrome green shot through with shimmer. They also used Gold Mine and Pink. So my substitute is going to be one eyeshadow with both those colours in. Now from my reference images, you don't need to be too neat about this, you just need to pull it out on the outer edge quite high up towards where your brow would naturally be. And although we're going to blend it, we still need it to be quite prominent, so you just don't need to be too neat about it. Once you've blended away that top area, you want to reapply it again just to make it more visible. Next I'm going in with this end shade, which is called Mezza Estate, and this has got kind of rose and gold hues in it, so that's why I'm going to use this over the centre of the lid. Now I'm taking Eyeko's I Do liquid eyeliner and I'm going to line the top lid quite thickly and I'm going to create a flick on the outer edge. Now this is all quite visible in the reference images I've got of Gamora's makeup. It's all about the eyeliner. The nib on this liquid liner is relatively thick, so it's perfect to create the shape we're going for. I've applied some mascara. I'm now going to apply these false lashes by Velour Lashes in Whispie Sweet Nothing. In the reference images up close of Gamora's makeup, you can see she's wearing lashes and they're quite fluffy but still quite natural. Going back to my Supracolor palette, I'm taking this metallic silver and on a small brush I'm going to apply this into the scars that we've created using the Collodion. Again, in some of the reference images this looks more prominent than others, but you can definitely see it's a metallic silver finish. If you chose not to use Collodion, you're going to need to freehand these designs in, and I would recommend using a kohl pencil in something that's white or cream and use a very light hand so you can easily tap over any mistakes with your finger and it will just soften the pencil so you don't notice it. Then once you're happy with your guide, you can then go in with a small brush and the same silver metallic cream makeup and do what I'm doing and just trace over those areas. Then as you can see, once the silver part's finished, it's really effective. Where I've used the Collodion, we've got a nice amount of depth to the scars, so in the flesh you can see that they sink into the skin. But to make it look a little bit more prominent, we're going to add a very small amount of that dark green that we used on the lips and the contour, and we're just going to go around the outer perimeter of these scars to aid that depth. Now you don't want to trace the entire scar shape with this colour, just pick a side that you feel like the light would be coming at you and then add that shadow to the opposite side of the scar. Then once you've completed that, you can then pop your wig on. I'm using the same one that I used for my Wonder Woman look and my Disney Beggar Woman Witch makeup tutorial, and this is from Divaswigs. Just to let you know that you can remove this green cream makeup with hot soapy water. And that completes my Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy makeup tutorial. If you enjoyed the video, I'd be grateful if you could give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, you can hit the subscribe button on screen now and also click my previous tutorial whether you're on mobile or desktop. Thank you for watching and I'll see you again soon. Bye!